Okay, so we mentioned AI a bunch there, so let's talk about a few other topics in the final half an hour. So Rishi Sunak, actually saw Rishi about a week or two ago at London Tech Week. He was speaking, and I was in a room afterwards speaking to some tech leaders for the podcast, and then Rishi just wanders in. It was a bit of a surreal experience, to be honest. But he was on Harry Stebbings' 20VC podcast recently, which is an amazing podcast. If people listening haven't watched 20VC, Harry is an amazing interviewer, and he interviewed Rishi, and they were talking about how, amongst other things, that Rishi's planning to try and make the UK the world leader in artificial intelligence. So he has launched a £100 million AI task force. A couple of days later after that announcement, Ian Hogarth, the entrepreneur who a lot of people know in the UK, he has taken the role as chairman of that task force, and I guess the goal is to invest in government projects that help with the regulation and the safety around AI. It's a bit unclear if it will be that much like involved in the private sector, with like funding companies and subsidising, but I imagine there'll be an element of a bit of everything with £100 million. I mean, it's a lot of cash. But Rishi's trying to make the UK the world leader in AI. Be interesting to see if like he can pull that off, because when you've got the Valley, when you've got China, all going crazy about this, it'll be interesting to see if our island nation can pull it off. I mean, we have done some amazing things before, but this is obviously quite an audacious goal. But yeah, look, if Ian is listening, or it'd be good to get him on the podcast at some point to talk about, I guess, what his plans are going to be as chair. So open invite, Ian, if you're listening to this. But what are your impressions, chaps, of I guess Rishi's announcement? Not from a political perspective. I don't care what your beliefs are. Obviously you were hanging out with Keir Starmer yesterday, Nick. So why don't you kick it off? What's your point of view on Ian's appointment and this news?
He's the guy that did Songkick, isn't he?
Yeah. It's like some music application or something.
Yeah. I guess my thoughts on this are, it's not only is it with us, it's with the American government as well. It's a little bit too late, and I think they should have been in a lot earlier. And I think they've had enough warning signs that they should have done something about this. I looked at the 100 million, and I had a slightly different view. I thought to myself, when you see the money that ChatGPT burns, I think every day, I think, is it something like £700,000 it costs for the machines?
I don't know what the operating costs are, but I mean, Microsoft put in 10 billion.
Billion.
And that's a company, not a government.
So 100 million isn't going to go very far.
No.
What I've read in between, and I think I quite like this, is the fact that he's looking at it from a point of view of health and education. And I think health is a great area for ChatGPT to explore, or sorry, OpenAI to explore, because I think that really is something which everybody would benefit from, and I think that's a fantastic idea. The thing that struck me, though, was that when I read through the statement and read through everything about this, that what they were planning to do, there was no mention of anything to do with the dark arts. And I've made a massive assumption, and I've got my fingers crossed that the people at GCHQ in Cheltenham are dealing with that Zeppelin. It isn't coming out of that 100 million.
When you said dark arts, what do you mean exactly?
Well, nefarious activity.
Okay, like deep fakes and
the
AI hacking.
The dark web.
Sure. Okay.
So going into that area, there didn't seem to be any mention of that. It was all about shiny, happy people. And I think that we need to be a little bit careful as well to make sure that we're also thinking about where it's being used badly or incorrectly. Yeah. And I'm just, there was no mention of that. And I don't expect him to, because this is all about good news.
Yeah, it's a PR press.
It's a PR, but I was just, my fingers are very much crossed that Cheltenham GCHQ have got their hands all over.
Yeah, I mean, we hope so, right? I mean, AI it's a tool. It can create amazing, projects and applications, but it also could destroy the world. So, it's important to get that balance right. What's your take, Graham, on, I guess, Rishi's announcement?
Yeah, I guess similar to Nick there, the 100 million, a mere drop in the ocean of what would really be needed to make a difference. But I think it's good that we're talking about it, and we've perhaps opened the door and put it on the agenda a little bit. So it is really important, I think, globally, that we get to grips with AI and consider the benefits, but also the drawbacks. I think as much as governments try and control this, I think it's got a life of its own, and I think the genie's out the bottle in some ways. So it'd be interesting to see sort of where things go. I don't think the announcement will make too much of a difference for us here.
I think it's a government thing, government-led thing for government type thing. I think private enterprise is going to be left to its own resources and do what it has to do. And if you think about it, private enterprise is well ahead of the game in this area anyway. The government are catching up, and it's not just this isn't just the UK government. This is also the American government as well. It's all governments, so everybody's trying to catch up. And I think if you're looking at it, that's to say, I think the health is for me, is the big area where I think we can all benefit. Yeah. I think that's a real plus. But like I say, we talk about cybercrime at the moment. Crikey, this is going to blow cybercrime out the water, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, you'll be able to create AI applications, give them a set of instructions to do, like, just for example, not giving anyone ideas here, right? This is not me saying this, but I was thinking about this the other day. You could create something that would go and create fake versions of banking websites automatically, using generative AI, then create fake email addresses that look like they come from the banks, and then use social media platforms to see who's complaining about their bank that they're banking with, find their email addresses by scraping tools, send them a fake phishing email from saying, hey, you got to log into your account. They then go to that fake page, they log in and type their details, and then you got their banking details, right? And it just automatically redirects to the banking website. And, you could do that on scale without any humans being involved, just by a little bit of code, if it isn't already being done already. Or if that hits millions and millions of people, it only takes a couple of, people to get fooled by that to ruin lives. So, the genie is out of the bottle, and I hope that we do get the dark arts in check. But I've got like a list at home that I've been thinking of, probably like 10, 15 different ways that you could use AI to destroy the world.
I try not to think about it because
I'm thinking more from a security perspective. But
I get into a trough of despondency when I think about things like that. I try and remain very optimistic about it, and that's the sort of angle. But I do know what you mean. If you start thinking about it, doesn't take too much. It's not a great leap of faith to realise where it can go.
You could do what I'm describing now. You don't need that. It's not like a future thing that could happen today.
I'm sure someone's writing the code as they speak.
Yeah.
Or probably with the help of Copilot.
Yeah, maybe I should edit that out, but I'm not liable in any way.